Hi, this is Steve. Welcome back to Scale Model Kit Review. In this video, I continue to build the Agora models Jaguar E-Type. Now that's the 1961 Jaguar convertible, and it's a beauty. I am on pack number 8. Now in pack number 8, we start assembling the interior of the car, which I really look forward to, and it's been blast building this so far. So if you haven't done so already, head over to agoramodels.com and subscribe to this car today. And while you're there, let them know I sent you. It's a fantastic car. I highly recommend it. So without further ado, let's get started. And welcome back. Here's everything I've completed so far that I've built on this Jaguar all the way up to stage 7. We'll be beginning on stage 8 and then 9 after that. But basically I'm going to show you what I can have room on the bench here to show you at first. And the whole front end of the car is complete with the engine installed, and that's a real beauty. A lot of detail there. I really enjoyed this. This has been a fun build, and I just can't tell you how much I've enjoyed building this. I'm floored with it. And then of course we did assemble our third wheel, wired wheel, and they are a challenge, but if you're up for it, I would definitely get this kit, because that's what makes this kit fun, are these wheels. And then of course earlier we did complete the spare tire and wheel, and that's this right here. And now we're beginning on the rear suspension, and that's highly detailed there. Dual shocks, independent rear suspension. I mean, it's just fantastic the way this whole thing went together. And of course we have the exhaust system here too. And here's the other parts that we've completed. Of course we completed one of the front seats, and that looks great there. Steering wheel too, we built that also. Very nice. And here's the hood that we received in the first issue. Beautiful finish on that. And we did build up the doors, and what's cool about these doors is that they do roll up and down with your knobs. Pretty cool. I love that. And here's the other one here. So beautiful. And then one of the emblems. So let's go ahead and get started on pack 8. Let's open this up and look at all 8 stages. And here's what's contained within the box here. So I'll go ahead and pull these out, and we'll look at these individually, then we'll begin the build. Here's stage 57, which is the right rear tire. And this is the 4th tire we received, so we'll be getting one more tire in a later issue. Stage 58, the cockpit floor. And you can see that looks very nice there. Stage 59, the transmission tunnel. We have a lot of little parts there for that. Stage 60, driver controls. Stage 61, brake light switch and seat cushion. Stage 62, installing the seats. So we got more parts for the seats here. Stage 63, the dashboard. And the final stage for pack 8 is stage 64, and this is the dashboard instruments and steering wheel column. Let's get started on stage 57. Here's the parts pack for stage 57. So let me take this out and we'll get a closer look. Here's a close-up of those parts, and here's the tire. Very nice there. We're going to have to heat this up in boiling water for 2 to 3 minutes. That way we can fit it onto the wire rim. We received the washer to mount it onto the chassis and the AM07 screws. Alright, so we have the wire rim that we assembled in stage 7, and that's ready to go. We need to go ahead and heat up the tire. I'm going to take it downstairs and put it in boiling water, wrap it in foil, and bring it back up here, and then we'll install it. And here I am, getting things ready to go here, getting the water up to a boil, and you can see there's my tire and metal tongs there, along with some aluminum foil. Drop it in the water. Get that up to a boil here. 2 or 3 minutes with this and it will soften the tire up and we can install it on the wire rim. Put it over here on the foil. Okay, I brought it back. I'll take it out of the foil here. And we need to work quickly, and we'll just get this installed. Very pliable. No problem there. Perfect. It looks good. Okay, I'll let this cool off a bit and then we'll install this on the chassis, so I'll be right back with that. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is we actually have to put this axle inside the hub here, just like that. It inserts just like that. Okay, before we put the wheel on. Trying to show it to you again. And but of course, before I put the wheel on, I want to go ahead and lubricate that. And I use Vaseline for this. You can use oil or whatever you like. You could even use dishwashing soap if you prefer. So then after that, then we bring our wheel over here and we insert that. Now it has notches here that go into the grooves. Try to line those up. There we go. Okay, that's good there. The washer into this, you can see that. It's real important that none of your spokes are sticking out within the hub here. AM07 screw goes into this. And that's good. And that's how that looks there. So that's all we do for stage 57. That was a blast, and we got one more wheel and tire to assemble for this. Stay tuned for that. Now let's head over to stage 58. Here's our parts pack for stage 58. I'll go ahead and take this out and we'll get a closer look. And here's our cockpit floor, and that's made of plastic. Very nice there. Has what looks like carpeting with the texturing going on there. And here's the other side. All the attachment points for screws and such. And we also received what they call the micro switch. First thing we're going to do is install this micro switch. And just kind of inspect it here, make sure everything looks good, make sure all the contacts are connected there, and they are. Make sure the switch works. It does. And so the first thing they want us to do is just feed it through from the top. and then it simply press fits in that area. Use my screwdriver to push it down. There we go. And the next thing we do is, let me give you a close-up of this. So once it's pressed in all the way, flush with the floor, on the other side are some metal tabs that are sticking up. And we just need to bend those over. And the metal tabs are bent over. Looks very good there. And that's all we do for this stage. Let's do stage 59 next. Here's the parts pack for stage 59, and these are all the parts for the transmission tunnel. I'll take these out and we'll get a closer look. Here's a close-up of those parts. This is the transmission tunnel, and this is going to house a lot of things a little bit later. It's made of plastic, very nice there. We also receive the speaker mounts, and those are plastic. The speaker bezels, they're plastic, but they're chrome plated. The speaker grills, those are metal, and they're photo etch type, very thin metal. The radio face itself, which is plastic. The radio controls, chrome plated, plastic. And 2 AGO5 screws. I'm going to go ahead and assemble the right speaker, and the right speaker will put the bezel on the cover here. It just press fits, just got a little detent that this goes into, just like that. And we'll take our speaker grill, we're going to insert that into our transmission cover, and the photo etch is simply just going to go on top, just like that. We'll go ahead and line this up. It does have alignment pins right there. We have our speaker installed already. Press that together. And that's how that looks there. I'll do the other side and I'll be right back. And there's the other side. That looks really good. I may go ahead and put some super glue on the back side to keep these engaged. Next we take our radio parts and we're going to assemble that. We need to turn the face over, just like that, and line up our knobs to the cutout that's on top there. And that simply just goes in just like that, and that's what it looks like. We're going to mount that to our tunnel, and it simply slides down just like that. ACO5 screw goes into this. Be careful you don't over tighten it. And that's good. I'm just going to tap some super glue on these points here. And that's all we do with this stage. That completes stage 59. Let's go to stage 60. And here's the parts pack for stage 60. And these look like to be the center console items, detail parts, the gear shift knob, and all that. I'll take these out, we'll get a closer look. Here's all the parts. We have the center console fascia, as they call it, and this is going to go over the top. Very nice there. Plastic, but has a like almost like a matte colored chrome on there. We have the handbrake handle, the gear shift lever shroud, and of course our foot pedals, AGO1, AGO4, and AGO6 screws. We're going to assemble the gear shift lever first, and we're going to assemble the shroud on the bottom of it here first. And you have alignment tabs, those go on the bottom, so it's going to line up on the center console. And this is simply just inserts just like that. We'll bring over the center console, and this is going to mount into that. So we want to make sure it kind of follows the design, and it's just going to simply go down onto that. AGO6 screw goes into this. And careful you don't over tighten it. And that looks good there. I'm going to go ahead and, there's a seam line here. I'm going to go ahead and take my X-Acto knife and I'm going to clean off that seam line. Just a little bit there. Kind of scrape it away. Same thing with the back side. And I'm going to take some Mr. Cement and I'm just going to clean that up a little bit where I scraped it. And that should look very nice. And while that's drying, go ahead and take our foot pedals and we're going to install that onto the floor, and it simply just inserts down just like that. Once again, an AGO6 screw holds that down. And that looks good there. Next, I'll bring over more of the center console parts here that we assembled previously. And this is simply just going to go down right on top of that. Just like that. This time we install 4 AGO4 screws from the bottom. Right here, right there, and right there. And the last one over here on the right. Nice and tight. There we go. And that's how that looks there. It looks great. Next we're going to put our brake lever in. I just want to make sure the chrome plating is cleared away. Doing that with a little X-Acto knife. Not much pressure, just to get the hole opened up. And we're going to insert this in there. It has a keyway. It only goes in one way. Just like that. And I'm going to install this very tiny AGO1 screw from the bottom. That's good. Make sure with all these screws you're putting into plastic, do not over tighten them. But that looks fantastic there. And with that, simply gonna line this up and just like that. So you can see everything is flush fitting like it should be. 2 AG06 screws go into this from the bottom side. One of them's right here. And that's all we do for stage 60. Let's go to stage 61. Here's the parts pack for stage 61, and we're going to be working on the seat bottom with this stage, and also the micro switch for the brake lights. And here's a close-up of those parts. We received the seat cushion cover, the frame, and the foam, all made of plastic. And this is kind of a rubberized plastic. It's really nice. Of course, the foam is very foamy. Switch mount, micro switch, and AG05 screws. First thing we do is we put our foam into the frame, and it just inserts just like that. We're going to put our cover on, make sure it's situated the right way, make sure the notches line up. We have a notch there and a notch there, so it's going to slide over the top. Looks good. Now we bring over our micro switch and mount itself, and that's simply going to go down on this side of the mount, and that's how that should look. Bring over the floor, and we're going to mount that to the floor here. Want to make sure your switch goes through that hole. And before I mount this onto the floor, I want to make sure that we have this pressed down all the way as much as possible. And I tacked down the ends with some super glue on this side here and on the other side. Okay. I'll take some super glue accelerator and get that to dry real quickly here. Make sure you don't get super glue on your switch, so that still works. And we want to make sure that it comes in contact with the brake pedal, and it goes in through that hole there. So put that in. AG05, 2 of them. You want to make sure be careful when you go to tighten this down. You want to make sure your micro switch still works. So and it works. And that's all we do for stage 61. Let's go to stage 62. Here's parts pack for stage 62. And we're going to be assembling another seat, so I'll be right back. Here's a close-up of those parts. This is the passenger seat. This would be the seat frame itself, made of plastic. And the seat back, also made of real soft plastic there. Looks good. And AG06 screws. First thing we do is we put the seat back in, and that lines up with a couple of tabs there on the bottom. All the way in. And that's how that looks there. Next we put our seat bottom on, and that goes down just like that. And we're going to mount this to the floor. And it just lines up with a couple of tabs there. And AG06 goes into this, 2 of them. Then we grab our seat from stage 15, and that's this right here. We're going to do the same thing on it. And that looks good there. And that's all we do for stage 62. Let's go to stage 63. Here's parts pack for stage 63. We'll be working on the dashboard. When we take this out, we'll get a closer look. Here's a close-up of the dashboard. And we don't do anything in this stage because we're going to use all the parts from stage 64, which is coming up next, to install on this. But this is made of plastic, has very nice texturing on it. Very nice. I'm impressed with this. Let's go to stage 64. Here's the parts pack for stage 64, which is the final stage for pack 8. And let me take these out. We'll get a closer look at all these parts. Here's a close-up of those parts. I'm going to leave them in the blister pack so I don't lose them. But anyway, the screws we got were AG04, AG06. We did receive a micro switch here. We also received the minor instrument gauges. We also got the dash panel, which is very nice there. It's chrome plated. Mixture control and heater control knobs. I'll explain those. They're a little bit different from each other. I'll explain those also in a little bit. The main gauges for the instruments. Steering control column, left and right. Instrument mount and control column itself, along with the control stick. And last, the instrument panel glass. This is for your heater controls and fresh air mixture controls, and they look almost the same. The heater control itself has 2 levers on it, and the mixture control only has the 1 lever on it. And I'm going to install the heater control switch first. It only goes in one way. It has a large hole and a small hole, so that's going to line up there. We'll push that in place. Looks good. Mixture control next. Same thing. It has a large hole and a small hole, and that's what they both look like there. Next, we'll put in the minor gauges and the way they have it configured with the needles facing down. So that's going to go in there into that slot. Okay, the backing comes off. And then I'll simply put that down in there. Line it up the way it needs to be. There it is. Here's our primary gauges, and we're going to put the sticker on the front side here where it's flat, not on this side. Need to peel it back, just like I did the last one. There we go. And I'll line that up. Perfect. Next, we'll put our clear lens for the instrument cluster, and we want to turn it over on the back side and make sure you line up your little turn signal indicators on top there. They're blue right there. And we'll insert that in, just like that. And you can see your instrument indicators. Next we'll put our micro switch. In place, and that goes on just like that. The instructions show you putting it off to the side, but I think it needs to go straight down. There's actually a channel here for the wires to run on. You can see that little channel. And then we'll put our gauges, our instrument gauges, on top of that. Hold that all in place. And 2 AGO 6 screws go into this. And over here on the side to hold that micro switch in place, we use an AGO 4 screw for that. That looks good there. And that's how the gauges look there. Next we put our glass into the other instrument lights onto our panel, and that goes down just like that. Then this inserts on top of that. And 2 AGO 4 screws go into this. There's one. And the last one. And that looks good there. Very nice. And you can see our wires run here. Just like that on the back. Everything's secured on the back side. Looks very good. Now let's assemble the steering column. And here's the parts for our steering column. We put our steering column lever in first, and that just mounts into this pin right here. See how that goes. Next we'll put our steering column shaft in, and this is a metal shaft, by the way, and that's going to go in just like that. And then we'll put our cover on. And we put 2 AGO 4 screws into this. We put one right here. And one right there. We have 2 more to put in on the other side. One there. And one right there. And do not over tighten these. Looks good. Next we install the steering wheel, and it only mounts in one way. It has a keyway there, a flat edge. So we'll line that up with the flat edge here. And that's in all the way. Now we're going to mount this to the dashboard. Bring the dashboard over and line it up with the way the holes are. So we have the wider holes on the outside, so we'll turn this over and it's going to go down just like that. AGO4 screws go into this. Four total go into this. And there it is. And that completes stage 64, where we assembled the dashboard here. It looks very nice. Remember, this was the final stage for Pack 8. I'll be right back. And that completes Pack 8, where we assembled the interior, the beginning of the interior, and that looks fantastic there. I'm very pleased with the detailing and how those seats look. Really looks like real leather on the inside there. Very impressive. And we also completed the dashboard and steering wheel, steering column, and that looks fantastic too. I must say that this is really going to turn out nice. I love the steering wheel on that too. And we installed one of our wheels and tires on the right rear part of the chassis, and that looks great there too. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell for all video upload notifications. Do me a favor, head over to agoramodels.com and subscribe to this car today. Let them know I sent you. It's a fantastic car. It's brand new out there on the market, and you know, you can have it completed here in 12 packs total. So you can go ahead and head over there and subscribe and start with pack 1 if you like. It's fantastic, and I do highly recommend it. So with that, happy modeling everybody, and take care.